Hello, welcome back everyone to the Mind Aura Lab. You're in the lab today with Anna Prassl. How are we doing today, Anna?
I'm doing so good. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw the 1 year post that you put up on a story, and I was like, has it been already 1 year?
Time is running.
Doesn't stop. It's just, and it's crazy because the older you get and the more responsibilities you take on, the more freedom you end up having, right? But then you also recognize that your time is the actual currency, it's not money.
Absolutely. You have the freedom, but not really too much time to make use of it.
Absolutely. So, just to recap, from the last time you recently moved to Amsterdam. So how's it been living there for a full year now?
Yeah, from the last time to now, I've changed many things actually. Not my job. I'm still in the same job and I still really like it. While my responsibilities have changed, but I got to know the city a bit better. I did learn the language a bit more, I would say.
Okay.
So I did start having conversations in Dutch, which is very important to me since, I moved here. Even though I live in a capital city, I want to be able to understand the culture as well. And I've gained more Dutch, like local friends as well. So for my life here, socially, a lot has changed.
Interesting how like, 'cause, how many other languages do you know prior to Dutch?
Well, my native language is German, Austrian German. Then, of course, English, hopefully, would be helpful today. And in school, I had 5 years of Latin, actually, which is not
Okay.
really a spoken language, but we translated a lot.
Mhm.
And then in college, I learned French and Spanish, while I would not say that I'm fluent in either of those.
Still a lot to like, to engage with.
Yes, fun though.
So, living in Amsterdam, how is it the culture different from Austria?
It's so different. I really had a bit of a culture shock, even though it's very close by. There's only like
Mhm,
Germany between us, kind of. But from a bit more in the south of Europe, moving to the north,
mhm.
it's definitely a bit more like strict and straight to the point here. The Dutch will say it's Dutch directness. I say it's an excuse to be rude sometimes, but I think they'll forgive me.
Okay.
And a lot of like the normal doen, like do normal.
Mhm,
That's a big part here. So if you're especially in the rave scene and you like to express and dress with a lot of color,
mhm.
people might find it odd, but actually they celebrate diversity a lot. Just when it's like not normal, like a bit like crazy or so, some people might tell you to act normal.
Interesting. So, yeah, it's coming from the rave community, so then you're talking about it being a shock. So, how did you start to, I guess, try to fit in more with the culture?
I think the good thing is I did not try to fit in.
Okay.
I, out of respect and also out of interest, learned the language. Also
Mhm,
because my office is a bit more towards the south, where not
mhm,
everyone is that good in English, so it really helps to speak Dutch.
mhm,
And also for my job, learning more Dutch was helpful. I think not fitting in, but still showing that I respect their culture and did not try to like put my perspective onto them.
mhm,
That helped a lot. And also just really getting to know people in a way that they also got to know me
mhm.
for more than like, my Instagram kind of.
Right.
That helped a lot.
And being away from family, how's that been for you?
Harsh in between. I really have to say, especially during the holidays, I did not go home for Christmas this year.
Mhm,
And I will go home next week. So, but for work endeavors. So I will just see my family for a day. I really experienced homesickness in between.
mhm.
Also because I went through a breakup last year, etc. So at some point, but then just like a bit questioning, why am I here? Why exactly am I in this country and actually not close to the people that really mean so much to me?
Mhm,
But I learned that within the expat community, we are really each other's families. In our building, there are people from all over the world. There's 500 people living here. That's
mhm.
why I'm up here on the 11th floor and you see over Amsterdam.
Yeah,
I really learned that people away from family can also be a family and really care as well, just from a good place.
that's awesome. So you're able to find community within your building?
Yes, yes, we are all young professionals between like 25 and 35
Mhm.
and all far away from home, away from our families, so kind of in the same boat.
Yeah, that's interesting because, like, in the States, right, you do have people that are in the same age range, but we're not close. Like it's more of individual, but to hear from your perspective, like you also are around other people who are willing to like share their journeys with you and try to connect and build a community together. That's awesome.
Yes, it took me a moment because I wouldn't say that I'm too like extrovert. I don't really approach people.
Sure.
I very much like being social and being approached. I immediately like reciprocate that, but I would not initiate contact to strangers.
Mhm.
So I'm very happy that I've found a community within the building here and also people that are really there for you when you need something.
Yeah, that's absolutely important, especially being away from family. Cause yeah, I was away from family too for 6 months. I ended
Yeah.
up moving to Oklahoma for a job and I took my dog with me. So Shiloh was like there for me every day, right after work. And it gave me purpose to like get out of the hotel room and just try to, make sure she was getting enough exercise and I got clarity from the day just being outside. But it is very crucial to have people that you can rely on or just lean on when things get hard because not everyone's going to understand what you're going through at work. And if you have someone that's outside of work where you can just, actually vent and, get things off your chest. It's very important. And luckily for me, I was able to drive to Dallas, which is only 3.5 hours away, to go see my friend Maxwell. And I got to stay there for the weekend, bring my dog with me, and I got to reset. But if I didn't have that one weekend out of the month, my mental state would have just been like chaos all the time.
Yeah, I understand that. Especially since I moved here, I moved into a studio. So in my apartment in Vienna, I had my cat. I had 2 bedrooms, so I always had friends staying over, also for weeks or months on end. And here, then just being in your little like shoebox, kind of, have to
Yeah.
get out. And for yourself, especially in the Dutch weather, you don't really go out. But when there are people that really show you that they would really like to see you and that it would also make their time greater to spend it with you. You don't feel like you have to ask people too much or like everyone's exhausted from work, everyone's tired, it's raining outside, you don't want to like really bother people. But
Hmm.
if they're like, nah, come on, let's play some games, or like now we have snow in the Netherlands. So it's like, let's build a snowman. And then if your neighbors meet and actually just, let out their child kind of and build a fun snowman. That is really nice.
So, do any of your other neighbors do they go to raves or they dance?
We have many dancers, not really in the Melbourne Shuffle community. But
Okay.
many of them have told me they would like to learn. One of my neighbors knows how to shuffle. We also go to many events together, actually. The others, there are many ravers, but since we're more in the north of the Netherlands here, more techno and
Okay.
house. And all the hardstyle events are more in the south.
Makes sense. So you're away from hardstyle. How's that working out for you?
Well, the last 2 months of last year, I took off from events, which is something very interesting for me to do usually. Like
Mhm.
towards the end, you get every event still in to like close the
Yeah,
year properly. I
sure.
still attended over 30 events last year, but usually
Wow.
I make that like 45. So giving myself a little break. Well, it also had a lot to do with my end of my relationship, where I just wanted to like not encounter friend groups too much to just like, get over stuff
Yeah, yeah, you
in some
wanted
way.
you wanted to reflect, you wanted that solitude.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. Like you go through a grieving period and you don't want to be reminded of particular memories and such. No, totally makes sense. Yeah, I was just wondering because you're normally I would see videos of you going out all the time in Austria, right? Filming in public. Oh, does that still happen in Amsterdam?
I do sometimes have shuffle meetups here
Mm,
because luckily I know some shufflers that live like in Leiden or in Haarlem. So not particularly in Amsterdam, but I do get to know more and more of them
mm,
because I see more and more fat pants here. So I'm excited. And always when I see someone at an event, I approach them because I go to all the Hearts of Classics events.
mm,
And since I host shuffle meetups at big festivals, we have this group chat on Instagram where they
mhm,
all connect and then someone finds someone at an event and also adds them and then they all meet. And last weekend, for example, there were, I don't know, like, so at least 5 separate people in Fat Pass.
mhm.
So a bunch of people in PhD hoodies and stuff that were shuffling. And I felt so bad for not being able to dance there with them because I was running around doing my stuff. Well, actually, I would have loved to just stay there all night and dance.
Yeah, for sure. It's I mean, like that just leads back into my next question. How does it feel to be invited to all these big name festivals for work? Like you're living your dream. So like the past year.
Yeah. I mean, the last event now, I just attended as a regular guest with my friends.
Okay.
And then still then I have to run around and like meet these people and say hi to them. And like I promise these people there that I'll do. So the grind doesn't stop, I guess. But with the big festivals, of course, it's still an honor. It's still so surreal for me that just to, our little dance kind of, you reach so many people that you become relevant for some of the biggest festivals in the world. So it's really wholesome. And also, of course, for me, I host the shuffle meetups there.
Mhm.
Some of our videos from the last year had like 30 million views from our
Wow,
meetups.
it's incredible. So, like, when you're running around or you're running around and you're are interviewing the artist for the actual festival, correct?
Yeah, in the recent festivals, like this last year, I have not
Mhm.
done too many artist interviews because I was more busy with the dance endeavors and also just creating my content. But a fun connection of all these things was at my birthday, actually, last year. I interviewed Will Sparks,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
Will Sparks is a Melbourne shuffler. So
Yeah,
towards the
it's
end of the interview, we spoke about, the Melbourne race scene and everything, his beginnings. And I asked him, just like, of course, because I had to, if you were to shuffle with me, would we shuffle to Ayer or to Hustler? And he was like, yeah, Hustler for sure. But don't make me do it. I'm tired. And I just looked at him and he was like, nah, okay, let's do it. Took off his shoes because it was a carpet floor, like
Yeah.
immediately took off his shoes and was like, play the song. So once a shuffler, always a shuffler, you know?
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, especially that guy, yeah, when I saw some of the content that dropped and then he's like dancing to his own music, I'm like, "Oh my God, that's wild." I mean, he's how long has he been in the scene for?
I think he said something about like 15 years. I have to look at it
Damn.
again. But his older sister took him to race and showed him the music.
That's awesome. So, just being able to connect with your favorite artists, I mean, that it must be just like you're talking about, feel surreal. So, how do you find balance between being at the show and enjoying it as just a raver versus work?
I have to say, I love being on stage, but it's my biggest stress factor ever. I think we
Mm,
also spoke about that during the
yeah.
last podcast. And now, end of October, I had a show that was really important for me. It was in a super big venue at my favorite event. So now me and a friend together, we made choreographies and really with the artists together, it was kind of a like throwback thing. So
Mhm.
we had the first track was what's it called? The Sarah and Pay track.
Okay.
Trans generators, do you want a balloon?
Okay.
With that super famous Sarah and Pay choreography. So the artist started the mix with that. Then
Okay.
we transitioned to SMF Ha Ha Ha, the Moon Boy track. And
Mhm.
then we had Stereophobia by Dark Oscillators, the Francis, the Fuck Yeah Shuffle 3 track.
Okay.
So he made a compilation of all these tracks and we were like, kind of like showcasing them with our heatwave suspenders on the pants and stuff. So that was the very first act of the evening. And then it took me like 5 sets to kind of enjoy being there again because I was so nervous. It was so much stress. I was so like, I wanted this to be good so badly, also for the
Mhm.
artist because
Mhm.
he's an artist that I really value a lot.
Sure.
So my friend was partying already and I was just sitting down, socializing and was like, I can go to bed now. When the adrenaline goes down, I was like, I'm done here. But then the main act came, Showtag, which Showtag were my first ever hardstyle event in 2010. So hearing the music from back then for the
Mhm.
first time again in like over a decade,
Yeah.
that awakened something and we were just like jumping around. I don't have a single video from that whole set because we were just dancing. And
Mhm.
that kind of like kicked me back to life. But I did take a few hours. So the in between, I cannot just switch. I do need a bit of a transition period between now serious and now we just like let go.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, and one of my friends have told me about that too, where it's like leading up to the day of the event is stress. It's like, okay, now it's work versus just being able to play.
Yeah.
And I understand that completely from that perspective, where it must feel nerve-wracking getting up there, but then when you start getting into that rhythm and you're just going through the things that you've been preparing for, you actually start to enjoy it and you're like, okay. now I can see why I was so stressed, but now doing the act of actually performing what I've practiced makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, so for me, it's of course, I've been on stage quite some times now.
Mhm.
But what I did learn is that I'm always a bit nervous. Sometimes I throw away all my nerves and I'm really like close to like hyperventilating. Just
Oof.
like just the moment before going on stage. I know the second I'm there,
Mhm.
I kind of black out and just do it anyways. And it
Sure.
always works out. I once fucked up my own choreography, but it was a jump style choreography and my favorite jump styler in the crowd.
Mhm.
And I didn't know. I ran into him afterwards and he was like, "Oh yeah, I saw you on stage." I was like, "No." Goodness. And he said it's fine, like no one saw it. But I nearly did. I never posted the part.
Nah, I mean, as dancers, I mean, we train ourselves to critique every movement that we make, right? And every time that you feel like you royally fucked up, it's actually not that bad in comparison to rewatching it.
Yeah, but like I performed with a friend who's a
Uh-huh.
good jump styler and we had a choreography where we were doing the same thing. So we were just randomly not in sync anymore. I was like, so I was just improvising something and I can tell that I got a bit like hectic trying to like still save it somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we practiced so much. The choreography was like perfectly, really like in us.
Mhm.
And it was just, I don't know, happens.
What do you prefer better, choreography or freestyle?
Always freestyle. I
Mm,
would much rather spontaneously go on stage like I've done a couple times before,
mm,
where we're like, hey, this track. Oh my God, yeah, let's do this track. And I just go up there and do my thing. Than really thinking about it too much. And also, of course, in my head, then that should look good. But then the stage is like a rubber material
mhm,
sometimes.
mhm,
Then you really have to try to make your choreography look good on the bad floor. Well, like when it's a bit sticky already, you see that you're trying. You see that you're like focused on all these things. When I just
mm.
go off there and like party around and do our shuffle, way better. Best spontaneous.
Yeah, and that's why you didn't get videos at that Showtech set.
And yeah, I mean, there's a live set on YouTube, and
Mhm,
my friend and I are like half that live set because the camera guy spotted us and was like, they are the vibe. I'm
mhm.
just staying here. And he was next to us, like, yeah, half the set.
So
So there are videos of us shuffling, but
have
only
you watched
snippets.
them back or no?
Yeah, of course. I also posted some in my story.
So, but in that moment, you didn't think that there was a camera on you. You're just enjoying the show.
At some point, you see the camera and you're like, okay, now we gotta deliver. There are no breaks. We just commit to partying on as long as this camera shows us.
Yeah,
Also, of course, at this point, I know many camera people. So I know when they spot us, they know that we will dance in some way or like know the tracks. I
sure.
never, ever, ever go on people's shoulders because I never know what to do up there. But that time I was actually on the female friend of mine's shoulders
Mhm.
and was just like to one of our favorite tracks, like going off and everything. And I saw that the camera from the back is filming me and the camera from the front. So you have both perspectives in that video. Now I just gotta show how much we love the music.
That's amazing. And those feelings, I'm sure, are just like crazy. What's the after effect? Like once those events are over, like I guess like I'm trying to say the come down from just your elation, like the endorphin rush. How do you feel afterwards?
I think like me compared to many of my friends party the whole event through.
Mm.
I'm scratching 30. I don't have that energy anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, nowadays, just mostly drinking wine at these events. I'm trying to stay away from the vodka Red Bulls that I used to like that used to give me the life fuel. And in general, like, but also in general, like more sober raving
Mhm.
in all ways. So it really helped me. I recently stopped smoking.
Mm,
That is a bit harsh still because that used to be my cooling down outside break. Because screw everyone who is smoking in the crowd. That's rude. Don't do that.
mm,
But for me, I always went outside, socializing a bit, smoking a cigarette, like every hour or so.
mhm.
And now I don't do that anymore. So I figured that I'm really lacking the oxygen from going outside. Imagine, especially being short. I'm in the Netherlands. Everyone here is like 2 meters tall. And then everyone is sweating. And like between people's shoulders, you don't get the fresh air. That
Mm.
is harsh.
Yeah, that is harsh. So you gotta be in the back because if you're in the front, you start getting sardined and just enclosed.
Yeah, all the way in front, actually, it's fine at
Okay.
these events. because
Okay.
everyone is dancing a lot. So it's not like with techno, very often you have people that step left and right or so, where it's like a very tight and not
Mhm.
too much moving crowd, like where people move, but more like stationary. And at Hartzell, people jump around, so there is more movement in it, and it's never really tight.
Okay. Yeah, I think I need to go to Europe. I need to go experience this. I keep saying it
I
because
keep inviting you.
I know, and it's just like, all right, now that I actually have some financial freedom this year, it's starting to look like I'll be able to finally travel internationally across the big pond.
Yeah, of course, that's a very big commitment. For me nowadays, it's an hour by train or so, or
Hmm.
sometimes we even go by car.
Yeah.
So it's really just like a normal trip like you would do to a local club. But last weekend, there were people flying in from Australia for this one weekend.
Damn.
And it's not even a weekend festival with camping, it's just a one night event.
Damn. Yeah, that's commitment.
I mean, it was also the return of one of the biggest acts in hardstyle.
Hmm.
So I kind of get it. People just once in a lifetime want to see them.
Hmm.
Well, I do think that we'll see more of them soon.
Disclosure.
No, like in general now, also with an album that people have been waiting for years and years now, like single track being dropped and everything. And the last set at their end, they called their Resurrection.
Hmm.
I guess they're back in some way, whatever form it is, or in whatever capacity they're returning. There will be another chance in our lifetime.
What do you think about Tiesto finally returning back to trance?
Yeah, finally. Sure, we've been waiting. Like nothing goes over his. That was in the Gelredome. There's a set where he played for I don't know all night long or so
Hmm. Hmm.
in the Gelredome. That's one of the biggest venues of the Netherlands,
Okay.
and just played his trance set for a football stadium from the early 2000s. I'm not sure 2003, 2005, something like that.
Hmm.
Where you see him just like actually DJing as well.
Okay.
Like, I think he was playing a vinyl set. You have to look it up on YouTube. It's such a good set, and he's just vibing and like playing this music, looking, yeah, now I'll play this, maybe this later. And like having him back in the music that like he comes from, kind of.
Yeah.
And the last person says an artist cannot develop or have new interests or go with the music or trends because it's their living after all. But his music is just so legendary that, of course, for people from back then, not saying that I was partying in the early 2000s, but like for the music from back then, it's the greatest thing to happen.
Yeah, I agree. The fact that because I was very skeptical that he was gonna play anything at EDC last year when I was there. So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna stay till sunrise. I'm like, it might just be another fluke. And then he started introducing some of his old tracks back into that set after I listened to it. And I was like, okay, maybe. And then he announced the trance set at Dream State and in November. I was like, it could go either way. It could be 50-50. And then I listened to the whole thing and I was blown away. I was very impressed that he was coming back to his roots.
Yeah, especially the thing is, he comes from a time where you really built a set, where a set was
Mm,
really like, like had levels to it, had like a
sure.
bit of close to even a storytelling. So he comes from a time where you weren't just playing one track by one track by one track, but
Hmm.
really made a whole thing out of trance.
Yeah.
So he still knows how to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it doesn't go away just because he stopped playing the music. That skill just is still innate inside. But yeah, I just again, like how you're telling the story about a set with trance, that is what trance is. And I think a lot of people still don't understand that quite yet, especially people that are coming in to the scene where techno is so big right now. But then you're seeing all the like little synths that are kind of trance that are getting introduced to techno. And it's funny because it's like, well, you guys are kind of listening to trance now.
Yeah, and after all, like being in a hardstyle scene, hardstyle comes from trance. After all, there was trance, and then like they made a bit of a harder version. In the beginning, between hard trance and hardstyle, there wasn't much of a difference really. Maybe a bit of the structure, since trance has way longer build-ups and like also just a longer ongoing drop as well. And
Hmm.
hardstyle back then was just 64 beats, and then we take a break because we're exhausted or so.
Yeah.
And it ticked faster, but it was both like 145 BPM, 140, 145. Both had reverse bass back then. So when this like shifted and separated more, and hardstyle had its like typical kicks. Like there's one kick, hard kick 10 by Noise Controllers, that was just used in pretty much every hardstyle track back then. It was any good. No, don't quote me on that. But to this day, many hardstyle fans will say Hard Kick 10 was the best kick ever introduced. Has nothing to do with trance anymore, but also was just after the time when it was still hard trance.
Mm,
So for me, trance will, first of all, always be the best genre to shuffle to. And second of all, always be the music in which I can really let go and lose myself. In hardstyle, I can go off because you have
mm,
this high energy and like this really like crunchy hard kicks, intense sing along melodies and stuff. But in
mhm.
trance, yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. Like you get into some state of trance.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think the most favorite runs that I've ever done were at Dream State. I mean, it hands down, there's just another level of emotion that you can connect with on the music that everyone else feels as well when they're there with you. And then you absorb that energy from other people when they're dancing too, because it's just so exhilarating being able to just let go, just be free.
Definitely. And also with trance, like the different sets, of course, the artists play different music, but it could very much just be one journey if the event is well booked and the lineup and timetable are made well.
Sure.
But like in hardstyle, you have this artist with this style, and then you have this artist with a very different style very often. They only get harder, but have very, very different types of music. And
Mhm.
in trance, if you're just at the same stage for the same, like for the whole day in your same spot, you can still just stay in this trance and stay in the vibe and stay just enjoying it. Like 1 hour could be 5 hours.
Sure. Yeah. No, I've been in that stage before where I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna leave here." Like, there's no reason to leave.
Also in hardstyle, we have MCs, just like they have in drum and bass and stuff.
Mm.
So it's way more of like the show where the MC in the like build-ups would really say, "Now you all do this, and have you seen this?" Like really like fill the gaps, kind of. But of course, like it always pulls you out of just like being in the music.
Yeah, it's and more interactive. Speaking
Yeah.
of interactive, so I saw recently that you were at the ASOT studio and got invited there. How was that?
Yes, I've been there for a couple of times now. I was there for the last Amsterdam Dance Event edition as well. That's
Okay.
always my highlight of Amsterdam Dance Event. I mean, being there in this legendary studio and just getting to see all the people and, of course, many artists that I've interviewed before. Then
Mhm.
you run into them again and you can just be there and be around Cosmic Gate, Near Six, and like everyone is just like hanging out and enjoying the music together. Learning a lot about broadcasting there as well. When you speak to people and you're like, why was this song not played? And I'm like, yeah, we could. But yeah, unreal. Even though I've been there before and you have stood like a meter away from Armin van Buuren before, it's
Mhm.
always like, oh my God, like I used to watch this 10 years ago, whenever. So always exciting, always amazing. Unfortunately, this year the weather wasn't too great.
Mm,
But kind of fortunately, because we didn't leave all day, we were just
mhm.
staying in there. And the team around the State of Trance and the Amada music is just incredible as well.
Yeah, that's fucking sick. How do you even get invited to that? Like, what entails that that visit? I'm curious.
Being just very active in the scene for a long time, but also contributing from not wanting anything in return, I guess. So when I started in like music journalism and everything, it really helped me open many doors by people appreciating the support. And then
Mm,
also in the beginning, I would send messages like, "Hey, this event there, can we come? Hey, we want to write about this. Hey, what about that?" Without like having them pay us for these things, but just
mhm.
to support and show that we're excited and also
Yeah.
like feel, your own like fan thoughts about that and really put your ideas into like a project.
Mhm.
And then this year I received the message, "Hey, we have a few spots this year. Do you want to come?" I'm like, of course, like no place I'd rather
Absolutely.
be.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. How is Armin in person?
I have not had the chance to have like a deep conversation with him, but always smiling. You can tell that he's like watching over his like whole things that happen there and is really like also very calm. So of course, events there can be someone who, I don't know, not just last year, but the year before, people that got a bit drunk or so he's
Mm,
not reacting to that at all, also to people screaming into the broadcasters, but just like he has amazing teams that take care of issues, whatever issues might come up. And for everything else, he's just his professional self there. And like dancing to the music, he's always playing sets himself as well,
mhm.
which are harder than one might think. He's really
Interesting.
putting the energy in there.
Yeah.
And of course, always then announcing the State of Trance event for Rotterdam. And I mean, they're in London, they're everywhere after all. So it's great to just like close up witness why trance still exists after all.
So you feel like Armin is the main pusher of, like, keeping the scene alive?
Yeah. To keep trance the big thing, or to make trance the big thing it is today,
Mhm.
I'm very sure that like we can thank Armin von Buuren. Just like with the State of Trance, there are like 50 million people watching.
Right.
50 million, like imagine that, you know? That's
Yeah.
like my country has 8 million inhabitants.
Yeah, that's wild.
And then like every week,
Yeah,
like
every
first of all, good on them.
yeah, seriously, yeah, every week, wow.
And they always have new artists, new songs, new like projects that they introduce. So they really spread the word.
Yeah, no, and it's like, 'cause in the States, the trance events here don't get that much love. Like the stages too, they start getting smaller and smaller every year, and you start seeing these at the major festivals. But in Europe, in Indonesia, I feel it just explodes all the time with how big the stadiums get or the venues are. It's always amazing to see those videos of just all those people. It's like so many people that are going to watch this trance set, and the back-to-backs and the face-offs that they started introducing are
Yeah.
getting even more crazy. It's like, wow, never thought that Oliver Heldens would face off with Armin van Buuren. If you told me that 10 years ago, I'd been like, nah, there's no way.
I mean, he's a shuffler too, after all, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, both are Dutch. And within the scene here, he's also always coming to the State of Trance studio during ADE if he has time. But
Mhm,
he also has his like held deep all his own endeavors during ADE. Everyone here knows each other. It's a very small country, and
mhm,
the music scene, while being way bigger than like where I'm from, for example, is
sure.
very like tight knitted. Especially if you've been in the scene for so long, as both of them have.
Mhm,
You encounter each other like backstage at events. You are there at these events together. You have a common friend there. So after all, it's also just people that live in the same city even.
mhm. Yeah, that's fucking cool. I was gonna ask you is, what was your favorite moment of 2025 during all of these festivals and, like, traveling that you've done? What was your favorite?
I think the most surreal was my shuffle meetup at DEF CON 1 on the Saturday at the Magenta stage during Tatanka. Because usually at my shuffle meetups in the past years, we had like 20, 30 people coming, which for me is already insane. Like I post on Instagram, just like 30 people show up to dance
Mhm,
with each other. And this year, I just posted like where it is and when. And I really like, I think I spent people a bit with when it's taking place.
mhm,
But then we have a group photo with 60 people. Over 80 people were there, which I know because everyone gets a wristband from me, which is
okay.
like an NPR approved hard dancer thingy.
Yep.
Also for me, because it's a bit of a like mind fuck to get introduced to so many people
Yeah.
and to know like within 1 hour meeting 80 people, that's like
It's a lot.
harsh.
Yeah.
That's why there is like two shuffle videos of myself because I was just looking around. Did I speak to you already? Because I also feel rude, of course, if there's someone who I messaged the week before.
Mm.
And then like I don't even say hi when they come. That's a bit, yeah.
I mean,
But
it's hard.
one of the most amazing moments for me to just like look around there and so many people that I knew already, but also they told me how amazing that is because not many of us have communities where we live.
Mhm,
And then they all get together there and like people have tears in their eyes and say that was like the moment of their whole festival or of their year so far and like opened their minds to like not being weird for doing that, etc.
sure.
There's, yeah, videos of us that have like tens of millions of views. Where, of course, if you post something online, you'll always get hate. You can never make everyone love you or so, which is also not the point. Some
Mhm,
comments very harsh, but we had the most amazing time there. I had like tears in my eyes just looking around, like how wonderful it is because I really would have liked to attend these things. And through years and years of just like annoying people, I made these opportunities for others and myself.
that's awesome. Yeah, that's super wholesome that you were able to continuously build while also supporting that community, that all those people who look up to you. And then obviously when they go to these events, they know that there's a space for them to connect with other people that love the music, that love the dance. Yeah, that's it's always so powerful to see that, especially here in the States too, going to festivals and running into the same people that you've danced with like so many times in the
Yeah.
past. But then seeing the newer generation that's like starting to fill in your spot, so to say, because yeah, like I'm 36, so in a couple years maybe I start to slow down. I don't know, but getting to see other people that are still taking the dance on and like exploring and progressing it forward, it's awesome to see.
Yeah, for me, it's also like when I then take the train home and I just speak to people and I see someone wearing a PhD hoodie or so. I'm like, oh, great. Like, you're a shuffler. Awesome. Did you see the other shufflers today? Yeah, yeah. I connected to them on the side there, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, are you Anna? I'm like, oh, yeah. Because I'm not the person that would be like, so you might have seen me before. Because, like, to be fair, in our very, very niche scene, if you shuffle and listen to hardstyle, chances are you might have come across something before.
Hmm.
Just in the last year, my videos have gained like 130 million views. Chances are, you know?
Sure.
But I'm not the person to be like, yeah, I'm Anna. So then we sat down next to the person. He was like, oh, yeah, I'm from Estonia.
Mm.
And I didn't know that there was this community, so and so. So I added the person to our group chat again for the next events to like have it easier to connect with others. And then also he said, oh, yeah, do you know Johanna, my friend? I was like, yeah, absolutely. And showed him a collaboration video I've made with her like 4 years earlier when I visited her in Amsterdam.
Mm.
But nowadays she's back in Estonia. So the community is so like woven, kind of, how
Hmm.
do you say, like connected without
Yeah.
us even realizing how tightly like netted it is.
Yeah.
And then we sat down, and on the other side of us, because we were talking about rocker style, and he was like, yeah, this and this, a bit difficult. And I was like, oh, yeah, my YouTube tutorials. And he's like, oh, yeah, okay, underscore Anna PR. And the
Yeah.
person sitting like on the other side was like, are you Anna PR from Reddit? And on hardstyle Reddit, I used to be very active. Now
Uh-huh.
I lost my daily streak, so now I'm a bit less active. But I used to like really spam about the shuffle meetups in the hardstyle Reddit. It was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen your stuff. So it's very nice how the one is like, oh, you're the person from YouTube. You're Anna from Reddit. I've just, spread my wings in all different platforms.
I mean, honestly, that's how you push what you are excited about in today's world, is being multidisciplinary. It's being able to not only just start with the dance, but you're also pushing your writing with the music, the events, or you're out there actually bringing people together. So you're an event organizer as well. You're not just a dancer, and that's like what always like brings me joy is like when people just think that I'm a dancer. I'm like, That's good. I mean, you have one perspective of me, but there's just so many layers to individuals that are just so excited about life and bringing like a vision to full creation. That's why I started the podcast, because I want to talk to people who share that same excitement about something.
Yeah, for me, it's also, of course, we are all very aware that if you show one side on social media, people will think that is you. If you don't show the other things, of course, they cannot know that there are other sides to you. But I
Sure.
encounter people here that have known me for like 4 years, and I've had a lot of contact with them, also met in private and stuff.
Hmm.
And to this day, they don't know my day-to-day job. We're like, we just had a laugh a couple of days ago because I was like, oh, I need to go to the office now. So yeah, I really like that people like underscore Anna PR. I really like that some people know more, that some people know Anna.
Yeah, I mean the select few, right?
Yeah, and the thing is like my social media, that's also me, 100%. Yeah, of course there's more to a person than just jumping around on events, kind of. And I think to all of us, there are some people that post way more than I do nowadays.
Hmm.
But also to every single creator, there is more than just what they show. Because of course, I'm in a niche. I'm in Melbourne Shuffle in hardstyle. Like there's hardly any like smaller niche in electronic dance music.
Yeah, no, it is definitely a smaller niche. I agree with that. I mean, especially with like psytrance here, it's a super small niche. sometimes in Vegas we have Psytrance events, but they're far and few between now because my favorite organizer that hosted the trance events, he decided to close shop. It's like, ah, who's gonna pick up those
Yeah.
reins?
Especially like we all know the big budget is in house music and trance,
Hmm.
in techno. So more niche music doesn't really have the budgets to sustain. It's more of a passion project for most promoters.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. So speaking of projects, what do you have planned for 2026?
Oh, I have so many plans actually. I always have way too many plans actually for like my capacity. Also with like changing my role a bit within my day-to-day job. But what I always do and will forever do is my Dance Your Way to DEFCON challenge, of course.
Mm,
That is actually the warming up to having the big shuffle meetups at DEFCON 1.
okay.
And it's always a 20, 25 days, we switch it up a bit, countdown to the festival, which is like a shuffle challenge. You know what a shuffle challenge is?
Mm,
But from the first year doing it as a shuffle challenge, we like widened it a bit. Also gave it a dedicated page on Instagram, Hard
mm,
Dance Fluence. We found it very creative.
mm,
And Leanne, Angel Wing, now part of FTS.
okay.
And I have been organizing that for the past 4 years. Now it's the fifth edition where we do that, where we have a shuffle tutorial, actually several, like in the row. It's
Hmm.
5 by 5 now, nowadays. We start with a jump style tutorial by Phantom, the world champion jump styler.
Okay.
So he really shows a few like jump style choreographies.
Hmm.
2 days later, we then have a jump style tutorial by someone who took part the year before or so. And we have hake tutorials for backstep, like the newer style. We have gabber tutorials for like really the old style haka. Then we have shuffle tutorials, shuffle like choreography tutorials. We have massing in there. We really try to like include all EDM, and the whole
Hmm.
point is like getting ready for DEFCON 1. Like just
Mm.
brush up, getting inspired at the event and like trying something that you might have practiced a couple of weeks before and like really also building the hype and then come to the meetups and dance with us if you actually attend the festival.
Sure.
And this year we work with artists. So
Mm.
for every single day, I didn't choose the music anymore. I only chose
Okay.
it for my tutorial day, which was a basic shuffle tutorial.
Mm.
But our favorite artists, and like really big artists as well, had a little announcement video where they were like, "Hey, dance your way to DEFCON challenge. It's me, so and so. Today I want you to dance to my track, so and so. Have fun." And then every day I cut a compilation of all the videos that we got.
Yo,
Yeah,
that is wild.
every single day making like we have pride in how we edit our videos, so not just
Sure.
throwing the videos in but like cutting them like on beat and everything, making sure everything makes sense and having everyone included who takes part. That is quite the challenge that I put on myself, though. I'm aware every year that I'm sitting until 3 in the morning, I'm like, I have to get up in 3 hours and make my own video. But it's still like a very wholesome thing and everyone feels appreciated to be part of that.
That's awesome. That's so much work. What, like, you talk about behind the scenes, like putting things
Hundreds of
together.
hours. Of course, like, taking part in a challenge is already a lot of work.
Yeah.
Really committing to dancing 25 days in a row, that is harsh.
Yeah.
But we start planning around this time every year because we also need to like come up with an idea, reach out to all the artists we want to collaborate with, all the other dancers that are making tutorials for us, also coming up with something new, kind of like maybe, and the all the graphics, which are usually pretty fast, less taking care of that.
Hmm.
And I only take part if she's like on a trip or something, and I also have to edit something. But then the artists send us their like raw video of their announcement. Then we have to make something proper out of that that fits the whole thing. And then like every day posting this, resharing everything, downloading everything, and making the compilation. Hundreds of hours of unpaid but very fulfilling work.
Yeah, that makes me want to throw up just thinking about how much. Just all the notification, but you've been doing it for so long that it's kind of like second nature to you.
Yeah, that's why we gave it a separate Instagram page, which also within one challenge got like nearly 500 followers now. We haven't
Mm.
used it for anything but the challenge.
Hmm.
So it's really nice that you see that also people that don't take part are just interested or want to save the tutorials. Some of the tutorials like performed really well as a post themselves. It
Hmm.
was just like as a collection of if you want to learn it, here you go. we would love to dance with you. And everyone also knows that even at events, when someone approaches me, I'm not the person that will stand there for an hour and explain how to do a running man at an event because I simply don't have the time.
Yeah.
But I tell everyone to reach out to me, send them my tutorials that I already have. If anyone has questions or has the time to come to Amsterdam anytime, I would love to give people what this dance gave me. And if they get to experience like really a tiny bit of what I got to experience through this dance, besides all the experiences with going to events and stuff and like growing a platform, just what it emotionally gave me of like,
Mhm.
dance makes you be yourself. You can only dance your way. No matter how many choreographies you learn or try to cope with someone, your body moves your way. And to just really experience yourself in that is just so much growth.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of acceptance, especially in a day where everything can get scrutinized, everything's getting analyzed, you're getting judged anywhere that you're going just because of how social media portrays a lot of people's lives. It is a source of freedom that you don't have to film.
Yeah, what's so wonderful is like the moment you realize cringe doesn't exist. Cringe is absolutely a concept of people that wish they would let go so much.
Absolutely. I could not agree more with that statement.
Of course, there are moments where you're like, I'm shy, how do I do this or whatever. But after all, first of all, people don't care that much. Just because a few people are mean on social media doesn't mean that the average like person cares so much about what you
Mhm.
do. We're all busy with ourselves or like other things. And if someone tells me what I do is cringe, I know that they forgot about my existence the day after. And I already forgot about their existence the moment I hide or delete the comment. So
Or
yeah, like why would I give up something that's so fulfilling for me just
mhm.
because a random stranger on a private profile has nothing to do with anything that I like tells him, I don't think that's cool. Yeah, I luckily don't exist for random strangers, but somewhat still for myself.
Yeah. No, and it's just it goes to show that the dance community for EDM is not going away. It's not gonna it's not a
Just
trend.
growing.
Yeah, it's growing and it's cool to see people that started out when I started out now that they have full-blown shuffle courses, online businesses, studios just like Sierra's and forgot I'm spacing on her partner's name in Austin, the Shuffle HQ, that
Mhm.
like being able to go there and see that in person and see what they're building, I was very impressed and it's cool. I think it's going to continue to blossom into what it's unfolding onto right now.
Yeah, and you know the voices in our scene that were like, no, this is killing shuffling and everything. No, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. It's been a commercial product for at least 20 years. I don't know. Yeah, we have 2026 now. Later since YouTube, it's been a commercial product. And even before there were documentaries. Who makes a documentary? People, of course, also make money off these things.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been a thing. It's always, of course, passion for it is important, not
Sure.
just milking something,
Sure.
but monetizing something doesn't mean that you cannot just genuinely care about it. I personally don't want to charge for teaching someone how to shuffle because I was not charged. And also I have my full-time job. I will only give that so much energy, so much I want in that moment. But if you really put your heart and soul and your time into that, you also give up on a lot of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So all the best to them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just like I was saying earlier at the beginning, your time is the currency. And
Yes,
when people start to recognize that later on in life, they start putting a value on their time. So if you can give X, Y, and Z out of just passion, yo, bravo, right? Um,
exactly.
and that's what I'm doing with the podcast. Like I'm not getting paid for this. I'm doing this because I enjoy talking to these people and being able to expand ideas and concepts out there so other people can be like, okay, I'm not the only one that thinks this way.
Yes, and also like the people you mentioned, we know that they're incredible dancers. So it's not like someone just like hops on a trend or so. They've been dancing for so many years, put so much free passion work into this.
Yeah.
Also like taught so many people and also develop it for themselves and make it their own dance as well. So of course there's also a difference between people that are just like being a shuffle teacher sounds like a nice job. I will learn how to shuffle to do that. Like so many people are not like that. and also like very successful big dancers, like, do they hurt me if they call a move a certain way? No, they don't. I don't dance to be standing there like this was a reverse T-step with a backstep, but just like because I enjoy the movement. So
Yeah.
it doesn't take away from my experience how they like do theirs. Of course, there's always like sheep in every community. And there are some creators like the hardstyle scene where I'm like, it just puts a really bad light or like prejudice on other creators.
Mhm.
But so what? They have always existed, you know?
Sure. Yeah. No. It will always continue to be a small percentage that will scrutinize and attack, but it is what it is. Just like you said, you're not gonna make everyone happy. It's all good. Eventually, that resistance will give away, and then there'll be another form of haters. It's just a cycle.
Yes, exactly. But also, like, as long as you do it for like personal reasons, no one can take that away from you. If I dance and do my videos and also support artists in the way that I do it, because I genuinely think that I want to contribute something in the way that I can, what can people take away from me? Nothing.
And with that, I think we're going to end the podcast. Anna, it was such a good time getting to catch up and hear your awesome experiences that you're having out in Europe. I am still on track to make this happen and come out
Let me
there.
know.
So thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having me again. And I mean, see you in a year to catch up, I guess.
Hopefully, yeah, maybe not. Maybe 6 months. How about that?
And then in person.
And then in person. Yeah.
Wonderful.
All right.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Anna.